Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intelligent Moron with Silva. Today is Thursday, May 19th. I wouldn't say that I'm like a huge person of social media. I'm pretty like avid user of social media nowadays. I feel like I've just not been as, besides promoting my podcast, which you should listen to. I'm not as, addicted to social media as I was when I was younger. I feel like that's the case. So when there's like new features or like new things coming to like apps or new like functionality or a new design or a new layout or, stuff like that, I'm always kind of late to the party with that kind of stuff. I find out about it like super late. Certain trends, challenges. I remember back when I think Vine was popular, was the Harlem Shake challenge, and there was the mannequin challenge. All these trends and things like that. And one of the main platforms that I would say like I'm totally like just like pretty much almost fallen off of is probably Snapchat. Just because I don't know, I just feel like before Instagram had the story feature, more people would use it to update their stories on Snapchat, therefore you would use it more. Now, since that's kind of been taken over by Instagram, it's kind of died, and I just have not been. I don't use the app quite as often for for that kind of stuff. As once Instagram brought in the story feature, which if you think about it, it's kind of bad, right? It's kind of like unfair, like when another company just duplicates their technology and then just kind of kills the other person, right? It's kind of messed up. It's kind of like, it's unfair, but it's not unfair. Like it's bad because if you don't I guess keep it fresh or keep it keep it new or add on to it quick enough and someone copies it, then you're just going to be left in the dust. And I think that for the fact that Snapchat was mainly for kids and teenagers back in the day when I first got it, and even nowadays I feel like it's mainly for teens and kids. And Instagram is also made for teens and kids too, but I just feel like, I still use Instagram and I'm no longer a kid, right? It's kind of stuck with me for all these years since I think I got it in 2012. So I've got to 10 years of using and being on Instagram and using it pretty frequently, right? So I don't know when I got Snapchat, maybe after that or before that, I can't remember, but 10 years you're still using a social media. I mean, that's pretty good, right? I don't post a lot, but I guess I waste time on it more than I want to, even though I don't use it as much as I used to, but it just sort of happens. And that's the same thing happened with you guys remember Clubhouse back in 2020, 2021 when the pandemic was at its peak and we were, isolation and all that and quarantining and all that. And then Twitter just duplicated that technology and just made Twitter Spaces, and now Clubhouse is dead. Like truly dead. It's just kind of weird how that just kind of happens. The beer company's just going to copy what you did, to essentially copy that entire feature and duplicate it. And there's already so many people, even more people at that time using Twitter. It's well, I already, used Twitter for Twitter. Now I can use it for Clubhouse because now they have the same thing, but, maybe a little bit better or a bit smoother. More people on it too. So it's well, what do? I have to now pick between Clubhouse and then Twitter that I already have quite the following, the establishment, if you're a public figure. I don't know. I no longer have to use this newer app that not many people are on, as much as Twitter nowadays. So that brings me to the point of this, topic, which is that new this new filter that I believe is on Snapchat, and it's like a sad crying face filter. I don't know if you guys have heard of this or seen it, but I've seen like a couple things, and a couple like videos that have been posted on like Instagram and all that about it, and I gotta tell you, man, it freaks me out. It's kind of weird. Because at first, I swear to God, like the first time I ever saw it, the very first time, I thought the person was actually, sad and crying and making that sad, frowny face. Because the first time I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute, is that real? Like, and I had no, like, no one told me, like, hey, this is a filter, this is not real or whatever. I just saw the context of the video, like it was somebody in a sad situation. I was like, oh my God, this guy's sad. But then after like the second time once it, replayed again, I saw, I'm like, hold on, this might be fake. And then I saw, eventually, like, okay, this is a filter then. Like, it's a pretty good filter, but like it's a filter. And if you don't like know, it's essentially kind of like a sad face deep fake, which I've seen like more frequently, like can be put on like pretty much anybody's face, this filter. And I've never been a fan of filters in the first place because I feel like they just kind of like change your whole appearance, right? Like it's weird, right? I know like its purpose is to make you look better for your stories or your posts or whatever, but I just feel like, like you can really like just make yourself not look how you are and distort the vision or the way people view you, right? And that's, ultimately that's the person who posts his choice, right? Either they feel uncomfortable the way that they look and they want this filter looks good on them, or they're like a photographer or a person who like loves to, post photos and add a little bit of flair to them and make it look like that. And it's not just any photo. It's typically like a selfie or with a face in it to make it look, pop out better, maybe hide some stuff and all that in filters. And you can also do that in like Photoshop as well, but I feel like a filter is just so much easier to access, so you can like, use like, I'm sure they have like even more high-tech filters out there now, especially like this one, the crying face one, to make it look even more perfect, right? You can now look flawless with these filters. And seeing how like that filter, the frowny face, sad face filter, fooled me that first time, really got me thinking like about the potential of the deep fake technology, and how close that is to being like so real that you think that's actually the person. Like I can give you an example. In The Mandalorian season 2, is a spoiler. The final episode of season 2, they have Luke Skywalker in the show, and he looked okay. You could tell it wasn't like, fully there yet with the facial recreation of like Luke Skywalker at that time would look like. But it was pretty damn close to it. Pretty damn close. And then, just in the first season of Book of Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker is also in that show, and he looked even better. He looked like actual like Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. And I know that Mark Hamill was, in in costume for that show, for like motion capture and like voice layering and all that kind of stuff. Like, so he was there, but like they made him look like just like, Return of the Jedi Luke. And like when he wouldn't speak, I swear to you, it was like he was like filming, like they had filmed like old footage of like Luke Skywalker and just put it in the Book of Boba Fett. Right? It fooled me that it was just like, this looks amazing, right? And that's all with production. That's with millions of dollars behind it and all that, and that's with like a cutting edge like effects, right? and that's to be expected for that, right? They have the money to do that. That's it's going to get even better and better, as the years go on, right? But then I saw this other video. It's this guy who he makes videos on Instagram, I believe, and he looks like, I swear to God, he does a Tom Cruise impression, right? That he sounds like Tom Cruise. He sounds pretty dead on Tom Cruise. Like if he was if you remember his role in Tropic Thunder, he kind of plays that Tom Cruise a little bit. But the thing is he kind of looks like him without the effects, but he deep fakes his videos to make him look like as real, and the best, I would say, amateur deep fake I've ever seen is this guy. Now, I don't know I can't remember his name, but you can just Google Tom Cruise deep fake and you will find this guy. And this guy, I mean, dude, it's crazy. I mean, he'll be moving around and running and laughing and quick head jerks and all that. And that technology just stays on there and it does not falter at all. It's so crazy. It's just weird. It's so bizarre now that how somebody just created this, and it's been discussed as this could be potentially harmful to people. Potentially people could lose what they've earned if somebody makes a deep fake of somebody and people think it's real, and then they either get sued or they lose money or something like that. And it's whoa, this is very could be very, very harmful to somebody's career, somebody's outlook and their image in the public. So it's the more this gets more advanced, it's just even going to be even more of an issue. I would assume, right? If anybody can do it, then anybody's going to do it, right? It's Murphy's Law, right? If anything can happen, it will happen. What if somebody wants to make a deep fake about Chris Rock releasing a statement that he hates Will Smith and all that? What if somebody made a deep fake of a dude who deep faked Chris Rock's face and shot an Instagram video and then published it, and it got so much traction? And in this video, what if he said some horrible stuff about Will Smith, he hates him, he wants him dead and stuff like that, and then millions of people see that and they think it's actually Chris Rock, and then everybody's losing their mind and stuff like that, and it's it becomes a big story, and then it just spirals out of control, and then it's no, Chris Rock's no, guys, that's not even me, that's not even my house, I don't even know this guy, he's using some type of technology to replicate my face and all that. Yeah, he kind of sounds like me, but this is not me. And then it's you get people that online that they hear one thing and they want to spit out something else. They want to be no, that's you, bro, that's you. It's no, that's not, but it's not though. And then it just becomes a massive problem. It's well, what do we do? How do we is it going to be illegal? Is it going to be banned? I've heard tons of stuff on deepfakes and all that. It could be a huge problem for our society if it becomes this major issue, major thing. So it just kind of this is a deep fake for everybody to use at the moment. This frowny sad face filter, which is granted, it doesn't look that great when you actually use it, or if you see a video of it, but it looks too good, man. It looks too good. Somebody can just make even a screenshot of it, and it doesn't have to be a full video. They'll get you in a sad face, and it could depending on who it is, it could be it can give you a bad look, bad image, and it's just I that's kind of why that stuff just kind of scares me. It's well, anybody can do whatever they want, essentially, right? We're giving them so much power and so much stuff like this, and not them, I mean people, right? These companies like Instagram and all that, they make this stuff to just keep people to use their service, right? The filters whether you like them or not, like they get people to use their product. Like more people use Instagram, now because I'm not saying just because of filters, but like, that's definitely like a reason why people would use it in the first place to look cool, to make you look better, um, to kind of distort reality a little bit. Maybe you want to look you want to look better, therefore you use a filter. It's kind of like that. It's like, and it's all, dictated by the person's use. Like if the person doesn't want to use the filters, they're not going to do it. But if the person's like, well, I want to look a little, cuter, I got a pimple here, I kind of want to clean that up. I don't have, I want to take this photo now. Well, if there's like a filter on there that kind of makes me look like I have like a clearer face, like my face is clearer than it actually is, stuff like that. I don't know. It's just that's kind of like seeing that filter in action and people using it and how it is used and how people can, I guess be tricked. I mean, I was tricked for the first time. I was like, whoa, this is getting a little bit too realistic, or a little too like, too wide, too much of a widespread, in terms of like reach to the public. I don't know. It's like a form of AI, right? It kind of it gets your face pretty well too. Like it recognizes faces and how like they would look in a certain way, and just like implement it to anything. It's like, whoa, this is it's cool that AI can recognize it, but it's like when you see it being used, it's like, oh no, like I don't know if I like this. Like it's cool that it's smart and it could, detect all that stuff in your face, but it's like I don't want that. I don't want that to be real. It's like almost like in every movie that you see, like all these robots, they do everything for us. But when it turns bad, it's like, oh, they're killing us all. Like, and it's like the robot can think for itself. Like, how cool is that in theory, right? It's cool, right? You think about it, like a robot can think for itself and have its own personality and its own like feelings and emotions. But it's like if you see that actually, unfold, like what could happen? Like, is he going to turn on human beings? What's going to happen like that? It's like, it's like cool to think about, but it's like I don't know if I want to see that in action. Like, I feel like that would be a little like just not ready for that, right? Like, and it's like, are we ready for more filters like that to come out? Like, what if they have like a not like a frowny face one, but like a smiley face, maybe a straight up filter to make you look thinner, right? Like to make you look more appealing, that the way you don't even look at all. Like, there was like a couple other like filters back in the day, like an old person filter, or like maybe not a filter, but like an app that would like generate what you would look like if you were older and stuff like that. I remember like there was also like a baby filter in Snapchat like years ago. Like I never used that, but that kind of took off. That that could have, but it's like baby harmless. It's kind of like, it's more like I don't know, innocent, I would say, than this the frowny face one. But that's also just because of the time period that we're in now. Like the deepfake is so like, well known now. Everybody kind of has a general idea of what a deepfake is, and the potential of like its destructive power. Yeah, I say destructive like it's the end of the world, but like, it potentially could be. We just don't really know. We haven't really been, I guess it hasn't really made like the mainstream in terms of like being a actual problem, right? But but it could, and I don't know if I want to see that. That's just gonna be, like, oh, that it becomes like a distortion of reality. It's like, well, that's not a real thing. It's like almost like if Twitter was like, or like social media was like a real place, which it is a real place. But let's be honest, you don't act the same way you do in real life on social media. You just don't. Like some people do, but for the most part, you probably won't be as outgoing or as happy, sad, whatever you want to however you operate on social media is probably not the way you operate in real life. Maybe you comment on things differently. Maybe you have a different approach to commenting towards people on social media than you do in person. You have because you're protected by a keyboard, it's not really you there. You're kind of just leaving a comment and maybe nobody will reply to you. Maybe you get a couple likes on that thing and it's like, boom, gone. That's it. But whereas in person, that's fully you. That's you. That's you, as real as it could get, right? You're going to say things to people or you're not going to say things to people, right? The choice is yours, though. It's also your choice on social media. It's just people tend to, like I said, distort reality and distort their personality through social media. Now, I've never really been, I don't think that I tend to do that on social media. Now, if I do, you can call me out on it. DM me like, this is not what you would say. Probably not. But I've been trying to be better at that. Trying to be better. Because, the last thing I want to do is seem fake, right? I don't think anybody wants to seem fake, right? I think everybody wants to seem, in a way, very, very authentic and themselves, because that's your best quality is yourself, right? Your character, your personality, the way you care about yourself, the way you interact with people. That's like a great a great thing to keep in perspective. Is how you handle things and how you approach things different than other people. That's what makes you you. That's what, hopefully makes you have a ton of friends, right? That's what makes friendships, is yourself. I mean, nobody wants to hang out with so many people that are just like them, right? I mean, sure you can, but it's like at certain points, it's like, why are you copying everything that I do? Why do you? It's like it becomes like it just not as exciting. Whereas you have different people who think differently and do things differently. It's like there's a little bit of more of a social interaction there and a little bit more of a reason to speak to one another because you don't think the same way as your friend does. Therefore, you talk to them about things that are in a different way. Whereas if it's just a bunch of yous, why even speak? Just to agree on things, and that's it. There's absolutely no other opinion, no other ideas out there, just what you would think. I mean, sure, in a perfect world, that would be, in a utopian society, that would be amazing. But we don't live in that. We are tied to our ideas. We are tied to our belongings. We are tied to our emotions, and we are tied to being right. We are tied to having people agree with us. That's just part of being a human being. I mean, it's crazy to think, but that's pretty much us in a nutshell. We always want to be right. We want people to think that we're right. That's just kind of how it is. And I understand how that can bleed into social media. You want to be right on social media. Everybody wants to tweet to be right. Everybody wants to tweet the right thing, to have the correct thing or correct tweet or the correct post. Therefore, they can get people to like it, retweet it, share it, whatever. And then that becomes look at these many people that like my thing or that agree with what I've said. It's it just becomes more of self you just look at how many people agree with me, and it's okay, whatever. That's also what it kind of boils down to is how many people agree with what I've said. Or is this good enough to post on Twitter? You get so many people back in the day, they would be hey, should I post this on, social media? Should I put this on Twitter or Instagram? It's do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I'm sure back in the day I was nah, don't post that. Nah, I don't tweet that. Now I don't care at all. I truly don't care because it's not a real place. Just be yourself, and then you'll get followers or whatever if you even want that. Remember back when you would get apps or algorithms or follow certain people to get more followers and stuff like that? It's bro, who gives a shit? Who cares about that? 90% of the people that you probably follow on social media probably don't even really know you. I follow a lot of people on Instagram. I know maybe 15%, maybe 10, maybe even 5. I know them. That's about it. Other than that, I just follow them because I maybe had a class with them. I like what they do. I think that they're a fun follow. Or a famous person, somebody that's famous that I am a fan of, Dave Chappelle or Tom Segura, stuff like that. But it's that's all though. That's truly it. It's like, what am I doing? You know? But, moving on from that social media talk, I didn't expect for that to go that long, but it just kind of happens, you know? There's been a couple things that I've kind of been not really up to date on in recent weeks, days, months. I've not been in tuned or keened or whatever you want to call it to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. The reason why is because I don't really like that kind of stuff. Trials about, who's right, who's wrong. People just absolutely becoming vile, destroying one another, outing people, telling things that they were like never say about one another to the public, for it to all be, judged upon by a jury and a judge. It's not something that is good for either person, really, except for the person that wins, obviously. But like, nobody wants to be in this situation right now, right? Nobody wants to be in, either of them want to be there. I mean, unless like, it's like you have defining proof and like people have been like attacking you for this, and like that what that other person is saying is not true, then sure, yeah, you kind of want to be there to get your justice. But it's still like not something that you want to be in. You don't want to be in a lawsuit. You never really do, because I mean, it's how many lawsuits actually result in like, an actual like a winner without like, you get going through all that stress, right? It's a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety built up. And it's like, yeah, I won, but that was painful, right? It's a painful process. Now, again, I don't know too much about this, so I'm speaking very ignorantly right now. Just pointing that out there. I know very little about this trial. All I know is that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard had a pretty bad relationship towards the end of it. Heard some things about it being violent, to people getting assaulted on both sides. That's what I've heard. Not sure what's true. I do know that I believe that Johnny Depp had like a cut on his finger because of a vodka bottle that Heard threw at him. And then I've heard like she's been, roughed up too, but I don't know if any of that's true. But it's like this case has really captivated like the country. I would say like, like every case, all cases do, like big ones like this. Like, I mean, this OJ, they just captivate the country. And if you're like enjoying it, cool. I mean, it's I've heard it's like great drama. I've heard there's been some banger one-liners from Johnny Depp, what he does when Amber Heard speaks, because I believe that the general consensus, that the general formation of who's right and who's wrong is leaning more towards Johnny. I don't know for sure, but I think it is leaning more towards Johnny rather than Amber Heard. So, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, okay? I just hear I hear whispers. That's all I hear. But I've heard that he doesn't even look at her in the eyes when she talks. He just looks down. It's like, holy crap, like this trial's got all the bells and whistles, all the drama stuff happening. I mean, I've heard, Johnny Depp speak, and I'm pretty sure he's an Englishman, right? He's from London or Britain or whatever. I cannot make his accent out. Like, he doesn't even sound like he's from Britain or whatever. He just sounds like Johnny Depp. I don't know what, like, it's always kind of been bizarre to me, because whenever he talks, his accent, I know he's got, an accent, it doesn't sound American or whatever, but I can't really pinpoint it, what it is. And I've always kind of been, just like baffled by it. It's just kind of weird. But nonetheless, like this is what people want. This is like kind of like the best way, the final stage in drama in human beings, right? As a kid, it was always back then because, listen, if you've had a life, if you grew up with an actual life, and I'm not talking about like um, everybody has a life, right? Like a fulfilling life, right? When you meet people and then you talk about people, there's always going to be drama every step of the way in every age of life, right? When you were a kid, it was about drama of who stole your marbles or who stole your lunch or who, said that you peed your pants, when you were in like second grade. And it spreads all over the campus, like drama like that. And then it goes from like relationship drama, and then it goes from like, professional drama. It's all drama, right? But it never makes it all the way to court, right? It's, you always have two sides of every story in your, you growing up, but how often does that stuff ever make it to court? Probably not very often. Probably. Not sure. Again. But this is high tier drama. It made it all the way to the courts, to the fact that both of these people who are known for acting have everything put on hold, have had things canceled because of what they've done, had their careers turned upside down for this trial because of all this drama. And I've heard of, not just vodka bottles, but, people defecating on someone's bed. It's like, whoa, this is wild. I've heard that Miss Heard has snorted some cocaine during the trial. There's been like a little video circulating. Now, I've never smoked crack in my entire life. I've always thought it was just on a table through a dollar bill rolled up. But this new way that she did it, I'm like, I mean, how could nobody have seen that? Or nobody made like nobody in the jury or the judge was like, hey, yo, she's smoking cocaine or crack. And I've heard that also Johnny dabbled a little bit in the cocaine. I've heard of that. I don't know if that's true, but like, he's an actor. What do you expect them to do? You think actors are like completely innocent people that they've never dabbled in drugs before in their life? Hell no. You can't be serious. There's so many eyes on them at every moment. How are they not medicating themselves because of all this stress and anxiety? With drugs that apparently, to be as strong as they are, like, if it truly is what they are doing, cocaine is like pretty one hell of a drug. I've, no experience, but I've heard that it's one hell of a drug. So why would they not do that? Why would Johnny Depp not smoke or snort cocaine? He's Johnny Depp. He's an actor. He's been an actor his entire life. He's been in Hollywood his entire life. I mean, it almost kind of fits the bill of the Hollywood type, is to be indulged in fame, sex, drugs, money. That's kind of like the life that you kind of signed up for. Now, not everybody has to do that way, but it does seem like a lot of people or a lot of celebrities who get super famous, sometimes they kind of have a drug problem. It's not rare, but it's certainly not uncommon either. Like, come on. That probably didn't make any sense, but it's just kind of what I'm thinking right now. But yeah, drama to the max. I mean, maybe I should actually look up on this case more. Maybe I should actually watch the trial. But there already so much has passed on it. Am I gonna be caught up? Is there like a Cliff Notes or a 10-minute video of what's been said and what's happened? I heard something about a jar of dirt. He might have said that because she referenced like a jar of cocaine or something, and like he made an inside joke. I tried to find that. I couldn't find shit, so I don't know if that's true or not. If it, and even if it wasn't true and somebody said it, which I heard somebody said it, shame on you, friend. I was actually kind of wanting to see if he actually said a jar of dirt. If you don't know what that is, it's a line he says in Parts of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, to Davy Jones, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is Davy Jones. By the way, great movie. Might be better than the first one. Might be better. But I will tell you this. The third one, and all after that, big heaping piles of garbage. Big heaping piles of garbage. just not as good. Too long, just dragged out. And it's like, damn, yeah. And it's kind of sad because I think he was going to do another Pirates movie, but because of this stuff, people are going to pull out. They're going to say, "Fuck you, Johnny. We can't have you. We're sorry, but we just can't take that kind of public, the PR debacle, public relations debacle, right?" And that does not surprise me one way or the other. Like, Hollywood is not known for dealing with stuff like that. I mean, as soon as this happened, Depp was cut from Fantastic Beasts, and Mads Mikkelsen filled his role as Grindelwald or whatever he is, and it's that's what's gonna happen. Hollywood is so safe. I don't like how safe that they are, but I get why they're safe. They're in the business of making movies. Right? Making movies, but before that is the business, right? I'm pretty sure everybody who gets into movies loves movies. Like, loves making them, loves cinema, loves the art form, is what they wanted to do. But as soon as you get into it, man, and I have no experience, but I can only speak on what I've seen and what I've heard. I'm no insider either. I'm just an average man. There's so much money that is being shuffled around to make one movie. Just to make one, right? From the stars in it, right? The actors, the side characters, the extras, the directors, producers, cinematographers, locations, technology, effects, craft services, reshoots, trailers, costumes, just, studios in general. There's a lot of money in this business, a ton of money, right? Hollywood's not just going to make any old movie for you to watch. They're going to be like, can this make money? It's like, yeah, I got a movie. The budget's going to be about $200 million. Let's make it. I'll guarantee you, if it's not Marvel, they will say, hell no. Hell no. And that's sad, right? That's very sad. Number one, it's sad because the business is so... when they greenlight things, they greenlight it because they have truly a belief that it will make a profit and that it'll make a big profit. That's why they put it in the theater. They're not going to make a profit. They might say direct to video, direct to streaming. We can't take that big of a risk, and we'll cut the budget. We'll axe some stuff. You still want to be a part of it? You could tag along. Stuff like that. And I think that what's been happening, what I kind of despise also in movies today is I get this sense because I go and watch movies, and I watch movies that intrigue me, that interest me. Any movie. It doesn't have to be big budget. It doesn't have to be MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'll watch any movie that I want to see. I'm going to see Top Gun next week. Can't wait for that. I saw Doctor Strange last week. That was a good movie. But I feel like the movie business nowadays is so, especially the movies, just the movies, is so based on not even really big, franchises, but just like, franchises, plural. But, I mean, what other movies now make anywhere as much money as Marvel Cinematic Universe movies? Not many, if you think about it. Dune made, I think, $400 million total. That was an incredible film. Released around the world. Now, it was also on HBO Max on day one, which that should never happen again, because that really did kind of put a an incentive in people's minds, like, oh, just wait for it to be on streaming now. It's like, oh my God. It's just encouraging people to just stay home now. It's crazy. But Dune, fantastic film. Didn't even make any MCU type money. Not even close, really. Maybe halfway, but not close. Spider-Man No Way Home shatters records. Doctor Strange also made a ton of money. It's like I don't expect, and I hope I am wrong about this, but I do not expect Top Gun Maverick to make $300 million domestically in its release date. I don't expect that. Because as cool as this movie looks, as cool as the movie that I feel like this movie is going to be, the audiences are just sucked into MCU. They truly are. When I saw Doctor Strange, they had a 5-minute preview of Top Gun. I was so excited, and there was a lot of people that were excited about that. But as soon as I was over, they were all hooked on that Thor trailer, like it was the body and blood of Christ. And I'm like, damn, it's still here. This MCU craze is still here. And good for them for making their movies and making money. Right? Good for them. But I just feel like audiences got to give other movies a chance. You can't just watch, I mean, you can, but like, MCU movies are not all it. There's a lot more movies than the MCU. Now, that could be because the younger generation likes TV more than movies. But, people will say, dude, I'm not going to watch a 3-hour-long movie. That same person will be like, I'll watch an entire season of Game of Thrones in one day. It's like, what? And then, like, you could say, like, hey, throw on Lord of the Rings. Like, that's too long. It's like, bro, you just watched an entire season of Game of Thrones. What are you talking about? This is too long. Get the hell out of here. And I feel like it's that way because people, I mean, I would assume, and I believe, that people just like the show format more. Because you get to spend all this time with the characters, all this time with the event, all this time in the narrative of the show. You spend every waking moment with these characters and getting fleshed out and having cliffhangers and having all this. Whereas a movie, it's like you get it all in one. You get this is the entire season, baby. Right here, right now. You get a complete, for the most part in movies, a complete ending. Unless it's like a franchise like MCU, it's like, okay, that's kind of like a TV show format, but just with movies. But it's like, it's just a little bit different. And I just wish, I hope I'm wrong about this. I hope Top Gun makes so much money, because from what I've heard, from what I've been seeing, this movie looks amazing. I just can't wait to see it. It's gonna be good, I hope. Next week cannot come fast enough. Moving on. Couple more things to talk about. Starfield, the game by Bethesda, that was supposed to come out this year in 2022. In fact, it was supposed to be slotted to come out on November 11th, 2022. That date is very significant because that's when the same exact date that Skyrim came out 11 years ago. 11/11/11. This would have been 11/11/22. Now, with a date like that, I expected Bethesda to get that game out and just dominate the sales because it's a new property from Bethesda, right? Not Skyrim, it's not Elder Scrolls, it's not Fallout. It's something new. It's not Fallout Shelter, it's something new. And, the theme of space exploration, RPG type style game, open world narrative, space theater. It's like, I'm in. I'm totally in. And there were like a couple featurettes before the delay that to me were very positive, were very assuring that this game is going to come out on time. 11/11/22 cannot come fast enough. I was ready. I'm like, we've been in such a lull of games lately, right? I've been playing the same game, right? Warzone for like 3 years now, right? And I'm over it. As much as I love it, I'm over it. And it gets delayed. And I've had some time to think about it. You know how much I hate the gaming industry, especially at this moment. Like, you can't point to any game right now that is doing well besides Elden Ring or Lego Star Wars. Like, Call of Duty, shambles. Halo, shambles. Anything else, shambles. Right? Any big AAA, big budget game, shambles. Again, besides Elden Ring and Lego Star Wars. And that's sad. Content-wise, it's sad. Because, like, what are we doing here? Like, what are you guys doing? There's no E3. You got nothing to show. Games are still getting delayed. Are you just gonna make this like the worst year of games ever? Now, granted, Xbox is supposed to have one killer year in 2023, so we got to look forward to another year. Still not a lot of consoles on the market to be bought. Also. But it's like, how much longer do we gotta wait? I truly believe that by next year, we should all be back on track in terms of releases and commitments. And consoles, I believe. I might not be accurate on that, but I hope we are. Because I believe in 2023, we should fully be back and out of the pandemic era. In terms of video games and video game production. I feel like that's been long enough, and it's now time for us to be fully back, which I believe will happen, because I believe, and again, the delay was sour at first, but I'm just happy that they called it now and didn't have like a big old E3 showing and then a couple days later delay it. I would have been, or not E3, but like their Xbox Bethesda Day showing, and then call it like, oh, we're delaying it. I'm happy they did it now, or a few weeks ago, then right after they show something cool. So it softened the blow. I'm cool now. I'm all right. It's gonna sting because I wanted to play it badly, but if it makes for a better game, I will wait. Even though I don't want to, I will, because what else am I gonna do? I've already said that they're lazy millions of times. I don't got to keep saying it. They do it to themselves. But I will give them another shot. The benefit of the doubt. If it's not good by 2023, if it's actual dog shit, you will hear from me again, gaming industry. Your most loyal fan, me. Your biggest fan, your biggest champion. Your biggest critique. And I feel like that you should be able to take my criticisms. Because I am a consumer. I am a customer. I buy your products. I expect them to be tip-top shape day one. I might sound a little bitchy, but I just feel like I have that kind of right. I have that right. And is God of War going to be delayed? That I'm not too sure about. I would assume that it would be delayed, because why not? Everything's already getting delayed. Why not just make 2023 the year of gaming's return? I mean, we are supposed to be getting Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 this fall. So, I don't know. I don't think I can go another year without a Call of Duty. And you've said, Alex, we've had Black Ops, we've had Vanguard. Those are not new Call of Duties to me. They're not. They're new titles. They don't feel new at all. They feel like a backstep. Every one of those two releases feels like a backtrack in the quality of a good first-person shooter Call of Duty game. It just does to me. You may like both of them more than Modern Warfare. Not me, though. Not me. And if you actually think that they're a better game, they are better games, those two are better than Modern Warfare 2019, I think you're out of your mind. You might be out of your mind. Because that game still to me is just great. Even though it's so old and I barely play, I play a lot still, but even though I get tired of it pretty quickly, the quality of that game was just so much better at that launch than even Vanguard's launch was. And that's saying a lot. That is saying quite a bit. Moving on. I was talking to my buddies this weekend, over Xbox. We were talking about, I can't remember what brought it up, but we were talking about Stuart Little, the movie, starring Michael J. Fox. And that movie is so stupid. Actually really, really dumb if you think about it. I know it's based on a book and it's a kid's movie, right? I even saw it when I was a kid, right? You get me a movie with talking animals and a fun adventure, I'm gonna like it back when I was a kid. I'm just gonna love it. Stuart Little was a cool cat, and even cooler than Snowball, who was actually a cat. But you think about it now, and it's so dumb. It is so stupid. George, the kid in the movie, right? Mr. and Mrs. Little's son, George, all he wanted was a baby brother. They're going to adopt a little baby brother for George to grow up with, for him to be his brother, to build a friendship with, a sibling friendship with, and be like, this is your brother, take care of him, he loves you, you love him, brotherly love. What do Mr. and Mrs. Little give George? A goddamn rat. And they think, the parents are like, George, this is your brother, his name is Stuart. Oh my God, that is incredibly dumb. And the parents are stupid. They think this mouse is a brother to George. A mouse. And the only person who's smart enough in this entire goddamn movie is George. For the most part, before he's like, oh yeah, Stuart, you are my brother. Dude, he does not. He's like, Mom and Dad, you brought me a mouse. This is not a brother. What the fuck is your problem? Like, for half the movie, he's like, my parents are fucking insane. They hate me. Why would the fuck would they think that it would be cool to give me a mouse as a brother? And I have to tell everybody that I know, all my friends, all my family, that this rat is my brother. Do they not care about my mental health here? I have to go around and tell people that this mouse who sounds like an adult and is in 3rd grade with me is my brother. I just can't believe it. You're thinking about it now, you can't watch that movie and think about it, because it becomes even stupider and stupider, right? The cat, Snowball, he wants to be a made man in this mafia type cat society. Like, he wants to be made and be a part of them, and he survives an attempted whacking by Smokey, the crime lord. It's a bizarre movie. It's so stupid, and just the fact that they're like, this is your brother, George. This is Stuart. He's your brother. The first line he says, like, he's a mouse or he's a rat. It's like, he's not my brother. Like, and the way, like, he's introduced is Stuart is like, he's sitting just in, like, the gap between where Mr. and Mrs. Little sit at the orphanage, and he's just right there reading a paper or reading a book, talking all philosophical about life and all that. And it's like, hey, we should adopt this guy. He'd be great for George. Like, I can't believe that movie. Now, I know it was a book, so I'm not sure how loyal the movie is to the novel. I have no idea. But I would assume that the brother thing is still, a prominent theme in the book as it is in the movie. I just, I don't know to the extent. Maybe it was done a little bit differently than the movie, but it's so silly to think about. It's so dumb. But it did get me to laugh, though. It got me to laugh at the premise of it, what it's actually about. And that the mom and dad were like so gung-ho on making their son, brainwash their son to be like, no, Stuart, or no, George, he's your brother. And it's like they built him a little sink. They gave him clothes. There was one scene when, like, Stuart got scared from something, and, like, you know how the kid, like, or you probably did this when you were a kid, you would, like, run and hide to your parents' bed because you were scared about something. They even did that with Stuart. Like, there was a fucking rat in the parents' bed. Like, what's happening here? Like, that should be, like, your worst nightmare. They also live in, I believe, New York City. Did you have Stuart, like, vaccinated? Because he definitely has, like, some kind of rat COVID at that state, right? He has to have something. Was there protocols being taken place with Stuart arriving on the premise? I don't know, but it's a silly, stupid movie. But when you were a kid, it's like, this is great shit. But it's like, now you think about it, it's like, man, this was stupid. It was very, very silly. I don't know though. Last thing before I leave, I teased you guys a little bit last week about a debrief from Congress about UFOs, and I'm going to say this right now. We got that this week, and it is now being considered that UFOs, or now known as UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, or phenomenal, whatever, are now potentially being considered a threat to national security. Now, this is what I've been thinking would happen since day one, or that needed to happen since day one. Since I've been hearing things about fighter pilots seeing these things move at such speeds, they don't know what they are, but they're there. They're physical. We can see them with our naked eye and our satellites and our, instruments of, sight and sound, our devices. So, by the general, definition, if you don't know what it is, and it's there, and it's not supposed to be there, you kind of have to consider it a threat by the rule of the book, right? So, for it to be now being potentially viewed now that these objects or phenomenon are now being considered potentially going to be a threat to national security, and that's a big potentially, because you can't run and hide from this forever, right? This is now a actual thing that could potentially, harm a pilot of any type, whether it be military or commercial or something like that, private, whatever it may be. This is now, could be, a big step forward in the UFO hunt, the hunt for the truth of what these things really are, if they really are in fact alien or something else. I tend to lean more alien because I do not want to be in a world where this is like some crazy Chinese tech or some crazy foreign tech. I don't want that. I'd rather it have to be something from another world, another dimension, something else, rather than a country that could pose as a threat. And if if it is another world that also poses as a threat, also not good, but better than our direct enemies, I would say, like China or the R-word country. So, yeah, crazy stuff. I told you. I knew it was something. I knew that, the sightings have been up, I think 400 reported cases or sightings of these things by military personnel and pilots. This isn't just a, once in a few thousand. This is becoming more and more frequent. And it's well, how long can you go with this type of evidence and you not do a thing about it? Right? It's like you're not even doing your job now, right? You're just ignoring it because of the whole stigma behind UFOs or UAPs, and like you don't want to be caught in that kind of like public mix or the PR disaster or whatever you want to call it. Like, it's no longer that now. You just got to accept it. Like, things change over time. When you get more information, when you have the ability to see these things on a way that you've never seen them before, whether, back in the day it was just like a dot or something, like, oh, we don't know what that is. We can't just say that anymore, because now you're going against like what the rules of your book are of, airspace and national security. You can't do that anymore. Not when so many people are going to be at your throat clamoring like, well, if it isn't there, it shouldn't, like, if it's not supposed to be there, it could be a threat, and we need to take action towards that. Correct? Like you can't just, hide behind it because we don't know what it is. It's probably nothing. Like, probably nothing? What do you mean? Like, you aren't being very safe or secure about that. It's like, I don't know if I wanna like you people to tell me what's safe and what's not. It's like, if you're not really gonna commit to or honor what these laws are, supposed to, provide and defend. It's like, come on. Just because of the stigma, you can't just be like, let's not deal with this. Let's not talk about this. Let's not make it public. It's like, and it's just the beginning, I believe. It's just the beginning now. Like, potentially now a new threat, or potentially a threat to, what was it again? National security. Potential threat to national security. Like, that's a big step forward in discovering what these things are. Now, I'm pretty sure that so-called scientist out there, he's a known astrophysicist named Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's probably going to shit all over this because he's a dirtbag and he hates fun and he hates actual science. He probably doesn't. I get a vibe that this guy just wants to hit the debunk on anything that he thinks is not worth putting effort into, which is not very scientifical, if I may add. Now, I'm no scientist, but that doesn't sound very scientifical for me. I don't even know if scientifical is the right word for that, but I used it. All right, Neil, attack my grammar, why don't you? Why don't you attack that? Instead of something that could further the species of humanity or further the discovery of other life forms outside of Earth, right? I mean, wasn't there just like, I've been seeing like photos of Mars, like there could be like a doorway? Like, what in the hell is that? What is this all about? I unless that's totally fake, which I do not think that it is, but it could be. But when I saw it, I was like, hold on. This better not be from some movie. This better be accurate. This better be real. We should definitely pursue this. This is something we got to pursue. And you'll probably get that scumbag, dirtbag Neil. It's just a natural formation from the Martian plate tectonics, and that happens every 1,000,000 years. So this is actually very common. Like, motherfucker, show me more. Tell me more. First of all, have you been to Mars? How can you make that connection? Now, I'm not saying he did, but I'm not saying that he said this, but if he did say this, how could you even determine that? First of all, I want an entire paper on that in front of me. That way I can read it. Don't just say this and say like that this is true because you're Neil deGrasse Tyson and I'm not. Like, I want to know what I want to know. The full truth. Don't just cherry pick it. Don't just give me the cliff notes. I want it all. I feel like that's like kind of like what I strive for now is I don't want any cliff notes on this stuff. I want the full Monty, the full information. I want everything all at once, right in front of me for me to just sink my teeth in because I need to know. I want to know. This is all I got. This is what I live for. It's the question of like other intelligent life out there, what it could mean for our society, for our species as human beings, what it could mean. The possibilities are endless. I just gotta know. Anyways, everybody, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow, rate, review, and view the podcast on all its platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Again, if you want to send me a topic or DM me a question, something that you want me to cover on the podcast, you could shoot me or DM me at all the social media links in the description of every podcast. Again, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.